Oh shit, there's another battery in here. Find out what I'm playing with in a second. Oh, there was. Boom. That's the other one I wanted to see. Where do I click? Where am I clicking? No, Pedro, don't you dare start any more music, Pedro. Bad Pedro. Hey, no. Is that my face? Yeah, of course it is. Hey guys, how's it going? Let me take the headphones off actually because I don't need them at the moment. How's it going? I'm BoredGamer. You may remember me from such streams as the one you're currently watching and the YouTube channel with the same name. Boom. Introductions done. How's everyone doing today? I hope everyone is doing well. I'm in a weird mood. I was super exhausted over the weekend, like super tired and just stressed about everything. Things that shouldn't stress you out, just stressing me out. But we'll go over some Star Citizen newsy stuff. Talk about some stuff that's caught my eye in the last couple of days. And then I'll answer questions. So if you've got a question about anything, whether it's about YouTubiness or me or mental health or Star Citizen type schismatiz or whatever, you can put question in brackets and then ask whatever you want. You can say, why are you such a shill? Or something like that. And I'll try and answer your question. If you do ask a silly question, you probably receive a sensible answer as if it's a real question. Because that's how I do things. I have just got a proper Canon camera now. The Canon 760D. It's what I need for events and such. But also, I'll probably use it for its video recording capabilities for filming when I play board games around private LANs, when I go to events. I might try and hook it up for streams. because it might work well for streaming. Maybe. Who knows? I'll have a mess around with it. I'll see if it works well with VoIP as well. Okay. The best possible experience you can get is when you buy a $600 camera secondhand or whatever. For VoIP. That would be annoying, wouldn't it? You buy a $10,000 camera. That's the best way of doing it. Oh, sorry, Flymo. You got purged. Not sure why. Sometimes the bot just purges you. It's an angry bot. Cruel mistress. You'll just have to deal with it. Someone just said Jordan Peterson in giant letters. I don't know what that means. Well, I do know what that means. I know who he is. He's Canadian. Do I sound like him? Alien Animals. What was that bright spark of news in... Where was that bright spark of news in otherwise dull Star Citizen 2019? Well, we'll talk about that in a minute. Because I have pictures. Let's bring those pictures up first. It's like a little tasty teaser. A teaser taster. Boom. Hopefully no prawn appears. Got some little concept pictures. Some animals. And then we've obviously got the ones we already know about. Talk about those in a second. Boom. I say a second. I mean, whenever I get around to it, which will be in a bit. So what else happened this week? Well, actually, we can talk about those pictures briefly and come back to them. So, Red Bull have got a series at the moment, which I will link you the episode I'm talking about, where they are looking at game studios and games, indie studios specifically. And Star Citizen was their second episode, and it was called Biggest Crowdfunding Campaign in Gaming History, Star Citizen Levels. And basically what Red Bull have done is a 13-minute video that goes over very roughly the story of Star Citizen so far, from 2012, where they've come to now, and looked at what's really happening in the project over the last few months. And CitizenCon, they did some behind the scenes of that. But as part of that, they showed off some slides where those pictures have come from, basically, of Jay, I think it's Jay Lee's work. So there's some cool stuff there, and that was the biggest cool nugget of information. And they always seem to have like one or two in these pieces. The other one done by My Radar, for example, we got to see the Titan suits originally. But yeah, so that was a cool thing. Check that out. YouTuber Law, Leo Lesser, who is a very good source of information if you want to learn about cases, and he talks about like various legal cases all over the internet. He's done, him and Leonard French have both done very good coverage of the Crytek versus Star Citizen case. He did an update recently where he talked about Crytek's case being reasonably dead in the water, with the major points being dismissed after they did a second amended complaint. However, it might still be in CIG's best interest to try and settle for like $100,000 or so just quickly, because it's just a headache. Discovery and that sort of stuff, and just the burdensome nature of having a lawsuit that's just sort of staying there, stalling, can be quite annoying and expensive, and it might just be worth just paying for it to go away. However, they did say that Crytek are going to really want to settle at the moment, because their case is so damaged, and if CIG fought it, there's the strong possibility, or at least a possibility, that Crytek would be liable for all their legal fees. They might not be, but it's an interesting one, because at the moment now it's just sort of like posturing for a settlement after the major parts of the case have gone. The Alessa also outlined that it wasn't a great part of the legal system that you can sue someone, and even though you shouldn't be able to, or even though that the other person you're suing hasn't done anything technically wrong or whatever, it might be in their interests just to settle still. So we will follow that up, and we'll continue getting as much information as we can, because if CIG settle, which I'm assuming a lot of backers don't want them to, they'll want them to fight, it will, it's something that we should try and find out about, and it's something we kind of want to know, because we're nosy. I'm nosy anyway. I like the news of Star Citizen, even if it's not directly related to the project. I mean, it could be. It's probably not directly related to the game. It's related to the project. But you see what I mean? Like, and it's not necessarily in their best interests for the project to fight if it's going to cost a lot more money, even though that might be the right thing to do. It's contract. It's not about moral obligation or anything like that. I don't think Crytek should have sued in the first place. I think most people think that, but you know, that's my opinion. Hashtag not a lawyer, but Leah Lesser is, and there you go, if I didn't already link that. Let's have a read to some questions, because then we will talk about RTV that's coming up, and Game Glass that had another update, and things like that. People are chucking me money. Oh, I love money. Oh, yes! Mantis Ridger, what do you want me to call you on stream? Because you have many names. Board Mate, Anthem Demo stream on Feb 1st, and have some money. We can. And we could do an Anthem stream. I didn't dislike Anthem. The servers and the bugs and not being able to play properly with my mates made it so infuriating that I was just like, fuck this. So, a Division 2 and Anthem, I'm not opposed to playing. They're games I probably will play. I could do a stream of that if people want that. I'll nosy around. It would be in addition to anything else I did. It's not taking the place of something. Just be you guys watching me play while I chat. Don Conninton, thank you very much for your Patreon pledge. Very much appreciated. Thank you for the hosts, Ennio and Alfred. Sod White. In the end, settlement could be all Crytek expects. Well, at the moment, it probably is now. I think they were posturing to go for a big settlement, and obviously the major parts of their case got defeated after the second amended complaint, and that has pretty much fucked their case over. But they can still be a burden. You can still be a thorn in someone's side. You've just apply games theory to it rather than sort of like what you should and shouldn't do, and oh my god, how dare they? Then it's in their best interest to try and go for a settlement. This seemingly began as a cash grab, and it could end as a cash grab. Yeah, it isn't all business a cash grab when you boil it down. Okay, that's my philosophical side coming out. But thank you very much. Thank you very much for the donations. Thank you for the follows. Thank you for the subs. Very much appreciated, guys. Let's go through some questions before... let's go from the top downwards. Question, only answering what says question next. Where do I say my silly drugs when in a reclaimer or ship not of normal size? Oh. Levski and Grimhex are basically the places you sell them. So, I'm not sure what else buys them, because I've got so used to doing it. Go and have a look on Texas Skulls. Skulls. Trade app. Boom. Firstmate now? Firstmate.com. There you go. Have a look here, buddy. Firstmate.com, that will show you where you can buy and trade all your stuff from. Useful little tool done by Texas Skulls. How many unique species of animals can we expect before Star Citizen believes the game is feature ready? I don't know. Only some planets are going to have animals on. I suspect those animals will be reasonably unique. They can have different varieties of the same animal, done quite sort of like with variations and variants, and then lots of color changes and stuff to make them look really high quality and different. Because it's not it's not going to be like No Man's Sky. They're not going to procedurally generate the animals like in the way they look. They're not going to just like randomly stick them together. Every asset when it comes to like models and animals and things, they need to be hand built. And they can have lots of different variations. So yeah, they're hand built, but they're then some bits are scaled up and they've got different variations of them, and then they can be procedurally spawned. But I don't know how many species of animals we can have before the game is feature ready. They don't have to have all the animals in before the game's feature ready. When do new concept ships usually pop up? I suspect that the first concept sale we will have of this year will be mid-February. No Daymar Rally summary video. I haven't had time to go through it all yet.
Tricksy little
unfortunately. I've got my starting footage. I'm waiting for loads of other people's footage to come through. In fact, I've had none of the footage I've requested through from other people, but that's probably because they're working on their own videos. Typically with other content creators, it is sometimes quite hard to get videos from them because they'll be 150 gigs plus in size for like a single video file. And you'll be like, can you put that in your Dropbox? Oh, I don't have a Dropbox big enough. And it's like, oh, you can use mine. And then you have to describe how to people get it. And then one that does it. Just my complaints. But yes, at some point I will get a Daymar Rally summary video up, even if it's just my experiences of the early stage of it. Because I spent 3 hours waiting for the rally to start and messing around, and it was actually quite fun, although a little bit infuriating. And then spent about half an hour in the actual rally before I was done, because I was pretty ill over. Pardon me, I was pretty ill over the weekend. How professional of me. Blah, blah, blah. Do you think Santon will get 100% finished this year? No, 100% finished is really hard to define for Star Citizen. It won't be 100% finished until they release the game. I suspect they will try and get the last of the major bodies in this year. So what I mean by that is obviously ArcCorp, but then Microtech, and they want to also try and get Urizen in, which is the basically getting Crusader done properly with clouds, with the cloud tech for Gas Giant, and then the Cloud City there, Urizen, or Urizen. I can't say it properly ever because I'm not sure how to say it. They also need to put like the Aaron Halo in, lots of other points of interest, and they're going to continually improve their procedural tech and stuff like that. So the Stanton system won't be finished for a while, but that's because no system will really be finished until the game goes live. They also need to put jump points in, but they can have it roughly finished. They can have it working. They can start adding more systems in soon. How soon until I drop it? My camera? Oh god, no. Don't even joke. Ugh. It's supposed to be relatively robust, though. I think they are, aren't they? They're pretty robust. Was the rally this past week worth it? Seems not much went as planned. So, there was lots of different servers all running the rally at the same time. Lots of them, most of them, in fact, I believe, ran relatively smoothly. Patch 3.4.3, unfortunately, is a bit crashier than we've previously had. That affected the rally. There was the Matadors came along and were grumpy, I believe, because they were going to be the security for the race and then got replaced or something like that. But lots of rumours about that sort of stuff. People will know them as griefers or pirates or whatever, or C-words, whatever you want to call them. They disrupted the race to a reasonable degree. There was lots of problems, basically. I think it was worth it. Whatever happens, I think it was worth it because it's a good sort of like show of there's some cool stuff you can do in the community. Some bits go well, some bits don't go so well. It doesn't matter how long you've planned them for. I'd actually say just doing more and more events will get you better prepared for them. Star Citizen is a beautiful mistress, but she's also terrifying and harsh. But I think they did a reasonably good job. The guys that ran the demo rally, I like them all. I commend them for what they were able to do. And some stuff just went wrong. It was beyond their control, or at least was beyond their control at the time with the knowledge that they had. Now, they might be able to, when they do future events, they're going to be more prepared for certain things. So, yeah, I definitely think it was worth it. I think the rally itself was cool. I think the community stuff was cool. I think a load of the stream stuff was cool. Obviously, a lot of it was going to be relatively boring. Had high production costs at some bits and was just a bit sort of like chaotic others. I typically thrive in chaos. It's sort of like my my medium for travel. So, I don't know. I enjoyed it. Be interesting to see what this sort of stuff evolves into. But it's given me my own ideas for events that I want to do, which I'm in the community section of my YouTube at the moment, there's a vote going on for sort of like events and ideas for events to run, like going from boarding actions for ships, literally having teams try and capture a ship and take it back to their base, to doing battle royale style little events, and all of this stuff will be a lot quicker and more simple to organize. The issue that I think the Daymar Rally had was that it required a load of organization and people being ready and getting ready and people having to wait to be ready and then go, because it all had to be fair. There's a lot of stuff that you could do that doesn't necessarily have to be as strictly done as that. So it doesn't matter if someone crashes, it doesn't matter if some guys turn up and try and wreck your fun or whatever, or try and disrupt things. In fact, if you did a battle royale, people disrupting things could be part of the action. Like, fuck it. Tell people where they are. So no update on the rest of the year, plus almost no content. Do you know when they'll actually stop this painful silence of content? Cries. Aaron Barton, I don't necessarily agree with everything you've said there. January is typically the time they're reasonably quiet. Disco Lando's away at the moment. We are having an RTV this Friday, which we'll talk about in a bit. They're still releasing around the verse. They've done some mini patches, but I mean, they've actually damaged the game more than helped them, in my opinion. Actually, the removing of the infinite weapons bug was a good thing. So there's that. Typically in January, it's pretty quiet. So yeah, I mean, you are right, I suppose, with that regard. Not much in the way of new content so far this year. Around the Verse has been reasonably informative, a bit informative. Had some information in it. Just slowly scaling myself down. Next week is when we should start to see, end of next week, roadmap updates, more content, probably Cornwall devs, that sort of stuff again. Could photography be an untapped potential game dynamic in Star Citizen, like taking pictures of nebula planets and enemy bases? Yeah, probably. I mean, that might be some of the ways that ships gather data. I suppose look at scanning in the same way, take pictures of stuff and scan, so you have the information about stuff in actual data form, so you can sell that to someone, they know the location of everything. However, you could also take a picture of the map and your screen, so you could actually show them, well, there's also context for this. And you're using the Connie Taurus? Not at the moment. Is the roadmap accurate? All features in it done by 2020. For the Squadron 42 one, that is what they want. Still can't sub on mobile. I mean, the annoying thing is I want to take your money, Alfred. So I'll look into that later. Thank you. In the posting other ship items, military ships have better items. Yes. Do you think that gives them a late game problem, or are all military ships better? No. So different component types are better at certain things and not others. So military ship component types might be really, really hot and take a lot of power. So and that might not be beneficial if you're trying to run a low-powered stealth ship. Do you see what I mean? So yeah, in combat, direct one-on-one combat, military stuff is going to be typically better, but not necessarily the winner. Customization is going to be a huge part of Star Citizen. Huge. I'm hoping that's almost as good as Eve's customization. Oh my god, that'd be so good. Do you know upcoming improvements on long travel times, like Port Olisar to Hurston? Luke Presley talked about that recently. He was more interested in the time it took for you to get from the surface of Hurston back up into orbit more than anything else. I think there'll be more of a variety in quantum drives, so in the near future, so that you'll be able to tweak your ships for longer traveling times if you're constantly traveling around. You look like a smurf. Thank you very much, Enio. Appreciated. Oh, is it blue? Oh, yeah. I haven't got all the light on my face properly. You know, it's just... Any update on the 30,000 errors? I did a video on it the other day. Basically, that we need another patch, basically. 3.4.4. We need those client crash errors resolved and disconnection issues solved. They talked about it and said they typically will disconnect a client if they're causing problems to the server rather than causing damage to the server or the server to crash now. Your cooking channel starts when? It's interesting you say that, because me and Zin will be doing cooking occasionally on the channel. It'll be rarely. Well, it might not be rarely, but it'll probably be relatively rarely, or part of a stream, or part of a Patreon, or whatever, a VIP video. I'm rebranding YouTube members, Twitch subscribers, Patreon and Subscribe Star donators and subscribers, all to VIPs, and they basically they all share a bottom rung of tiers, which will be some exclusive content and stuff like that. So if you're any of those things, then you will at least get the basic like exclusive content and things like that that those members get. And I do very much appreciate the amount of people that donate, and Patreon, and now Subscribe Star. I suppose I've just started Subscribe Star today. If people are interested in that as an alternative to Patreon, you're more than welcome to check it out. But if you don't want to give money, that is fucking cool, because something else you can do, if you want to, is give feedback, which is really fucking useful for me. Just, commenting on the videos, saying what you like the idea of. If you've got an organisation you want me to check out, that sort of stuff, just message me on the Discord. Really useful. Anthem was fun, looked amazing. It was cool. It was okay. I enjoyed it. Ish multiplayer. The demo was apparently a bit different to the full game. I don't like starting in the middle of games, and that's basically what it was there. So I will start from level 1 and understand it and learn it. It looks like it might be a bit more fun than Destiny 2 was, which, yeah, I mean, I could certainly get into it. Any news on the rebalance for small large ships? The 600i is a luxury ship that tanks multiple times harder than any Constellation, Valkyrie, Retaliator. Thank you for everything. So they're having the new flight model coming at the end of March with 3.5, and they're physicalizing components at the moment. And we know that they want larger and medium ships to have higher times to kill. Ships aren't going to have health pools anymore. It's going to be, there's going to be hull damage that you can do, but it's going to be component based typically. So you'll be blowing people's thrusters off, you'll be damaging them, you'll be destroying people's components, like their power plants and that sort of stuff. So you'll be disabling them rather than always blowing them up. And yeah, they still explode sometimes. They still rip their ship apart sometimes based on where you've hit it and stuff like that. It's going to be a more physicalized damage system. That should massively change all of that anyway, is what I'm trying to say. How was the day at the rally? Long and mostly uneventful from my point of view. And then I died of a migraine. Hi, Bored. When it comes to buying up land, what restrictions are going to be on locations? Is there anything to stop us buying up land right outside areas like Jumptown and having a monopoly? Yeah, Flymo. They've talked about that. There's going to be some areas you just can't buy because they are not for sale because they're blocking other parts. Also, I think trespassing on people's land isn't necessarily a true crime. It's if you do anything on their land, then it's a criminal offence. We don't 100% know the mechanics are going to be, but I would suspect that if you're on someone's land for too long, they can request you leave, and if you don't leave, they can deal with you. If you try and steal anything or damage any of their property, then that's a criminal offence. However, this is only going to be on UEE planets that they allow the purchase of land on. So some UEE planets might not allow you to purchase land, or private planets. So like ArcCorp, for example, I doubt you'll be able to buy anything there. You might be able to rent or buy apartments or hangars, but you're not going to be able to sort of like put land claims down. Now, outside of UEE space and human that sort of space, you are just going to be able to go, I don't need a land claim. You can fucking go anywhere you want, and you just claim it and say it's yours. Okay, you don't need a land claim. You don't put a land claim in the ground. You have to enforce and protect that yourself. So, or however you've organised the protection of that. But they talked about a long time ago. They said, yeah, they don't want people to be able to just block off areas. It's pronounced Ryja, but call me Mantis. No worries, Mantis. I will. Do we know when Gen Release CitizenCon will be this year? When it will be is sort of like mid-ish October. So it was October 10th recently. Should be in the UK this year, but not 100% confirmed. Will you be doing a video on the rework of the 300 series? Yes, 100%. And what's your opinion on the rework? It's looking cool at the moment. We've only seen very little bits. Really, I mean, the most we saw of the rework was during the expo when they actually had the model there and you could sort of like glitch inside to have a look around. We also know that the 300 series, when it comes with 3.5 at the end of March, they are doing some way of customizing those ships before you purchase them from the RSI website, which is expected to be at least changing the color and probably the loadout of the ship, but it might be a lot more. So definitely do some videos on that when we know more. I mean, I could do some videos on that before, but we have a winner for the Carrack. Not yet. I will draw the winner probably on Thursday, on the 31st, maybe on the Friday. Be based on what's happening, how much time I've got. What do you think the reason behind the Connie Taurus being delayed is? It's not finished. It's pretty much an Andromeda, but misses the fighter dock, bottom turret, and missile launchers. It will be that they wanted to do something with that bottom turret. They're probably making like a little nook for putting cargo or something. Dog-sized bacteria would be a bad thing, yes. Do you see any advantages that the Endeavour has over the Carrack? It's significantly more modular. It can break away from the lab section. The Endeavour is much more science-based than exploration-based. However, you could use it to do exploration. There's a lot more modularity that the Endeavour has. A lot more differences. I mean, it can be set up as a hospital ship. It can be set up as it can have a lot more focused, powerful equipment. Like it can actually have that like telescope array for finding anomalies and stuff. In fact, it might be useful to use an Endeavour in conjunction with the Carrack for all we know. What can we expect for Valentine's Day sale? Can I expect to finally grab a caterpillar? Maybe. I'm not really sure what they do with the Valentine's Day sale. I vaguely remember dragonflies and lots of red hearts everywhere. Do you know if there will be flora and fauna breeding mechanics? Maybe so you could make a living off selling species you've bred. They haven't mentioned anything. Well, they've mentioned farming. They've mentioned changing topsoil. There's biodomes in the Endeavour that you can have as modular things, so you can grow crops. They wanted outposts that could be super farming. So in that sense, flora. How many GB do you think will be full game when it needs to be at release? Do we gigabytes? How much space? They said 100 gigs like years ago. I would expect the game to be 80 gigs plus. I think we'll eventually see players being paid to act in this game to enrich a particular experience or location. I think you might see GMs that help run events and push stories forwards, potentially. I think you'll see outside of CIG third-party people doing that, like for people that want to make videos or content or whatever. They'll get players involved and things like that, and maybe pay them or whatever. There's big money in games for certain things. I hate you, Keck. When do you think we'll get a second playable system in game? This year, or maybe at release? The release 2020 also just means Squadron 42 and not for the Star Citizen, right? That's correct. It's Squadron 42 is what they're hoping to release in 2020. I am expecting the Stanton system to, add a push, be fully roughed out this year. I was expecting that last year, to be honest, but be fully sort of like roughly laid out this year. And so we could see more systems in 2020. We know that they've got parts of Lear done. Magnus and Pryro, which will be the two systems they do next, which are proximate to Stanton. They're pretty damn simple systems, even if some of those planets there are like just big moons and things like that. What do you think? Could we expect alien animals, kinds like in the Alien films, a bit more dangerous animals? Yes, there'll definitely be dangerous animals. They've talked about xenomorph-esque alien missions before, where you're going to scavenge stuff from a ship and there might be a xenomorph running around, or, not a xenomorph because copyright. But will we see NPC ship traffic? and land everywhere in Hurston, like exploring all Lorville on foot. We are going to see NPCs traveling from planets and living their own lives. We'll see that more and more. It's going to be reasonably faked for a while, with ships flying down, landing, flying off again, doing cargo runs and that sort of stuff. But eventually there will be NPCs living their lives and doing trade routes and stuff like that. We're not going to be able to explore the whole of Lorville by foot. No. I'm not sure to what extent we will be able to explore Lorville. I would expect them just to open up more sections of it, like they have with the Central Business District, like they will with the hospital. So expect lots and lots of destinations for the train. What do you think the next major development blocker on the roadmap will be, similar to object container streaming, if any? Full persistence? Probably the next major one that they'll have some resistance from. My friend's launcher, hopefully not the flight model. My friend's launcher does not want to update from 3.2 to the current version, but he can still launch the game. It crashes when he gets close to new features like custom. When he gets close to them, what? He better get into the game if he's got the wrong version. He'll have to re-download the game, or at least verify his files. In your ship's giveaway, do qualifying comments have to be in the main thread, or do responses to other comments count? Responses to other comments count. Yes. When I extract all the names, it basically just grabs the name of anyone, not like this, but it's for your purposes, it grabs the name of anyone that's made a comment in that thread, in that video. Would ArcCorp have a bigger location to get on foot, just like Lorville? Would ArcCorp have more than one zone like this? We don't 100% know. I'm expecting multiple landing locations around ArcCorp and ArcCorp Area 18 to eventually be modular like Lorville is. So there'll be lots of districts you can visit. When can we see Earth? We don't know. I'm expecting Terra and Earth to be done pretty late because they're going to be the most complex systems. Probably the most complex systems. I mean, some of the alien capitals might be more complex. What happens with the ships you've bought with real money when the game releases? We will need to pay it all again? No. If you've bought something with real money, you get it at release. Get it now and at release. If you're buying stuff in-game with the in-game currency now, so if you're earning Alpha UEC in-game now, that gets reset every so often, typically every 3 months, and then with occasional minor patches as well. Do you think the community content is right to have time off over Christmas? There's 3 other content managers that can replace Jared. Yeah, I mean, I think next year they should have some more plans for content over Christmas and the start of January. I mean, there's a good amount of content managers. They can have some more stuff pre-recorded. They can decentralize everything being on from Jared as well. That makes sense. If for some reason he left the project, then you wouldn't want all the content, community content stuff to die for a couple of weeks, would you? Which is why when he went on holiday, they needed to have some more stuff in place. I think what they do as well, the content managers don't just, they all have very different roles. They don't do the same thing. What is your favourite ship to fly and why? Probably the Sabre. The Sounded Sabre. I love it. Makes me feel powerful. It's a nice ship. Looks cool. Looks pretty. I like the Terrapin as well, oddly. What about permanent weapons? Has anyone lost? Or is there any fix coming soon? Don't know what you mean. You're talking about when you lose stuff in game. That should be fixed. I mean, it's fixed every time. They do a server reset as well. Are alien ships going to be available to purchase in game, or do I have to pony up the cash? They'll be everything should be available to purchase in the game. There might be some very rare cases where you can only get something off a player. Though that's very unlikely. Can I have a BoredGamer face as a ship decal? Hopefully one day. I'm hoping that's a thing that they do. Could we expect regular cars, automobiles in the verse on roads and such? They've talked about this. They're not sure if they want to connect landing zones on planets together with roads. We might see that, we might not. Obviously, flying places in a ship or using like a Genesis Starliner to fly from one location to another that's sort of like an NPC one would just be significantly quicker. But we might see some areas or some cities or some planets, whatever, have little road systems. Yeah, I mean, we're calling some of them. You always have to hold the plus key or whatever key you set to push to talk. It's a way to leave it on. I don't actually know if there's a way to leave it on. They'll add a toggle function, probably, or open mic. They haven't already. They haven't, have they? They haven't got an open mic. I didn't even think of that. I always push to talk, you see, so. Except for now. Shut up. My friend's launcher doesn't want to update from 3.2 to the 3.4 point. Talked about that. Just verifies files. Will there be ships in the future to collect and maybe sell wild animals in the black market? I hope there is big game hunting in the game. I hope there is animal capture and that sort of stuff. They've talked about it previously and said you need to maintain a habitat for them or have special containers for things you captured. So I hope they do that. That sounds fucking awesome. Do you think we'll see component specs soon? Power plant, power per second generated, gun, cooler, quantum drive use of power. All that sort of stuff by component. Yeah, so expect there to be more data exposed about this sort of stuff once we have the new flight model and once we have physicalized components after that. Malagos, he does some very good stats grabbing. So once we have a bit more stable information about that and the meta is important, I will try and correlate something together for the wikis. That sort of stuff, if other people haven't already. As far as pets, would I be able to assist tasks? We don't know. We don't know what pets are going to be able to do. Any plans for Tavaran ships in the near future? Other than the Prowler, which is the Tavaran-styled sort of like dropship and landing craft, not that we've been told. I'm expecting to see a small Tavaran fighter before we see the actual Prowler in game, though. So, when will the Super Hornet go on sale again? Don't know. Maybe at the end of March. Does a land claim include some sort of air and space above the land, or just the land and the stuff below? I think it's just the land and the stuff below, but I'm not entirely sure. How are they going to prevent jump point camping? Seems to me armistice zones are going to be necessary. I mean, I'm not sure if they are going to be able to prevent jump point camping in hostile zones or zones that have no key presence. Oh, someone's camping. Lodge them or whatever. Bash your head in. Yeah, your system should be okay for Star Citizen. Love your face. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. How do you feel about the Vanguard changes, and will it be viable in the new flight model? We don't know until we have the new flight model, but it has to be balanced for it, doesn't it? So, yeah, it should be. I literally bought a Vanguard Sentinel the other day, well, in the expo, because I was like, of what they said about the changes. They're making them all have the rear ramp of the Hoplite, they were doing the central modules, and they acknowledged that they need the Vanguards to be better. They weren't working as intended. Do you think they'll add more ships in 3.5? No. In 3.6, maybe. Do you think the push for Squadron 42 will delay the persistent universe? No, I think it will get the Squadron 42 features into the persistent universe and prioritize those features for the persistent universe in the short to medium term. What can we expect for Valentine's Day? We talked about that. Will we get a planet like Klendathu from Starship Troopers with big Zerg-like bugs to kill? I would think that's almost 100%. What will the science and exploration side of the game be like? Will it be profitable or just fun and satisfying to do? I think it will probably be both. It won't be mutually exclusive from that. They'll balance all the roles so that there's viable ways of making money based on the risk and reward of those particular things. So think of all jobs being equal in the amount of money they make, except there's going to be different levels of risk and reward, and there's going to be different nuances to those gameplay. Obviously, there's massive changes in that gameplay. But assume that there's an equal amount of money, but the risk and reward differs, and you can choose what sort of risk you want for the reward you want. Exploration might be a bit more lottery, sort of gambling when you're going out and looking for stuff. Science might be a bit more manufacturing, or I don't know. We'll have to wait and see, I suppose. And we see the Vulture in 3.5 with salvage gameplay. No salvage gameplay in 3.5 now, it's been moved out. I think it's quite a possibility that we will see the Vulture this year, and it will come with salvage. How are you going to handle hackers? Well, me, personally, complain about it. That's what I'm going to do about hackers. They need to do something about for people that are going to hack or exploit. Yeah, I don't know what they're going to do because I don't know their engine in depth enough to know how exploitative it is. Do you think that their procedural generation tech will allow them to just spawn a mission in a building and have the interior being generated right in that moment when you accept the mission? So they could technically spawn outposts, NPCs, and mission locations, and derelicts, or whatever they want for the mission. However, the procedural generation for interiors and stuff isn't sort of stuff that happens on the fly. They didn't want it to be on the fly anyway. But you might see that with derelicts and ships and stuff like that, and maybe even crashes. The merchantman should be limited due to law, right? I believe it sort of is. I mean, I suppose during a sale, people could buy as many of them as they wanted. They're quite expensive, though.
Hosted, so I decided to use this.
Could you please alienate your followers and grant me the winning spot of the Crytek this month, as I really, 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 really want it. One. P.S. No one will know. Craig Holmes. Maybe. It's unlikely, though. So it's entirely fucking random. I wish I could have actually my favourite comment of the month, but then it would be so open to exploitative, you know what I mean, exploitativeness. Once DNA character customization comes in, I'm guessing even if you spend a few hours making your character look exactly like you, it'll be subject to resets. Probably, Brad. However, you should be able to save that data, or it should all be like numbered. Like you'll be able to create the exact thing with your character again pretty quickly. That's the way I understand the DNA system. So you can literally go, oh, my nose is, my face is, and like just a hash number. Just a bzzzt. What weekly show would you bring back given the choice? If they cleaned up around the verse a little bit more, I'd like that. Just 2 extra minutes of tangible, interesting content, and just make it all interesting. Boom, done. Calling All Devs is a great show. Reverse the Verse, I like the bits of it. I know this isn't answering the exact wording of the question, but I'm changing a question to answer it how I want. Fuck you. Reverse the Verse has some cool points in it. So when they do the game dev special ones, where they have, we're going to make a space whale, or we're going to make a new character, we're going to make a little physics game. Those are cool. They teach us about the game. They teach us about the engine. It's really interesting. I really like them. The ones they do when they're game design, boom, they're amazing. Like, do more game design RTVs. We'll have half the questions you ask about game design RTVs. I'd also like them just to do a weekly Q&A show. Literally, they don't even have to take questions directly from the audience. They can take them from the Calling All Devs thread, and Jared can just answer the ones he knows. Answer them, bam. Half an hour of that a week, boom. When do you think base building will be in game? I don't know. I think I genuinely think we'll get land claims this year, because they wanted to have it last year. When I interviewed Aaron at the beginning of last year, I was chatting to him and he was like, yeah, land claims, we want to get land claim and some gameplay in this year. And it's what I'm looking forward to the most. So I suspect that they've been working on that and they'll want to try and get that in this year. They do want to do some underwater stuff. We're not sure when that will come in, though. If I get a badges and badges referral reward and put those badges on my ship and it blows up 5 minutes later, do I lose them or do I have them forever? You should have them forever, or at least they will come with lifetime insurance, I believe. So you can lose them, but then you'll have to reclaim them back. We're claiming them back on lifetime insurance. We're not entirely sure how that's going to work with items or with ships yet. So bear that in mind. Are we going after the giant sandworm? 100%, Mr. Pinks. As soon as we are able to. Do you think the Moby-Glass maps for both flight and foot will improve? Yes, they're working on them. They want to roll the way down, and they want you to be able to see inside ships and inside structures, I believe. I think they're going to get a lot better. Will there be lockpicking in the future? There will be hacking in the same way, and you'll be able to open people's ships and doors and stuff. Seeing as Defender is getting released in March, can we expect the Merchantman sometimes after that? Yes, sometime after that. They'll be working on the Merchantman later this year, using the Defender as the sort of like gold standard for the Banu. What's your opinion on server wipes? I think they are necessary as it keeps the game in alpha, and it's not rubbish early access title. I'd like to see resets less, but at the moment, yes, they're important. I mean, they're important to see how progression works. They're important because there's issues with lots of the stuff that they need to wipe. They need to make databases and items and stuff more efficient, so that causes them to have to wipe the databases as well. There's lots of reasons they need to do wipes, but I'd like to see them a lot less. Will Squadron 42 have VR support? I think it probably will eventually. They've kept it in mind, is what the last thing they said. They kept VR in mind. One of the things they said they wanted, so I would expect Squadron 42 to have VR support at some point. And do you think we'll see a second universe to travel to? I don't think we'll see a second universe. Not for, well, maybe in like 5-10 years' time, when they're like more ideas, chuck more ideas into the game. And we'll see a second universe. Second system, I suspect we'll see probably something at CitizenCon, and then actually have it in our hands next year. Yes, I'm looking forward to the Banner Defender, but I'm looking forward to anything that's new in the game. Except for 3.4.3, which just added more crashes. Would we be able to kill the Vandals and take their weapons, use them, or maybe analyze them for science, maybe to craft it later or rebuild it for human sizes? So I think we'll be able to loot Vandal ships and equipment and stuff. And I think those materials will be valuable. I'm not sure if we'll be able to just straight up use their weapons and items, though. With what's been discussed with regards to in-depth economy, how in-depth will player get with crafting? Will we be able to craft our own ammunition or just be able to mod equipment? We know we're going to be able to mod equipment. We know we're going to be able to tweak equipment. There's plans for that already. They haven't talked much about crafting other than the Endeavour. It was sort of like able to craft drugs or something, and they talked about some outpost buildings would be helpful for refineries and storage for certain things that you'll use for other bits, which sounds like crafting to me. I would like to see ammunition crafting, fuel crafting, that sort of stuff for bases and for outposts. I'd also like to see eventually ship building, I suppose, from a player point of view. Yeah, I would like to see that. How long until we get docking, ship-to-ship docking? It's something they're working on. We're going to get ship-to-station docking first. We should get that later this year, and then ship-to-ship docking after that, but I'm not sure when. What spot do you think missiles and torpedoes will have in the game in the future? How well will countermeasures be? Will shooting them down be viable? Seems pretty hard to balance to me. Probably is pretty hard to balance. With the new flight model that we're getting in 3.5, we actually should see a new missile flight model as well. They are going to need to really, really rework missiles. So I think this really small missiles should be quite good at hitting stuff, but not necessarily just not super amounts of damage. Torps and stuff like that, they should be used to precisely hit targets that have been damaged, or to get an alpha strike on a target and that sort of stuff. They need to balance things. They should be viable to be shot down. That's what the point defense systems are for. That's what some of the automated turret systems are for. And I think that we will literally have people in fighters and interceptors shooting down torpedoes. I think that will be a thing. So, yeah, we don't know exactly how the balance is going to work yet, but I think it's something that we all need to talk about once they iterate on it, so that we can have it more how we want. Once we have physicalized components, once we have hard times to kill on the ships, once we have that new flight model, we'll be able to judge it a lot better, exactly how we want torpedoes and missiles to work. But we're comfortable spending $350 on Star Citizen with the purchase of Phoenix. Will it be enough to sustain me in-game so I can experience multiple aspects of the game and keep it upgraded? Yes, it will. I mean, the Phoenix is a mega ship. You'll be able to upgrade it. It's pretty multi-role. You'll be able to do a bit of everything. Panda docking behind the Banu Merchantman top fin. Yes, good idea. Right, Mr. Eggman, love you. Keck, there's going to be some interactivity between the Defender and the Banu Merchantman, which they haven't entirely told us what that it is yet, but I suspect, yeah, some form of Defender to Merchantman docking, rearmor, refuel, repair, maybe just travels with it, quantum drive, something. Will I be able to bang my crew like in Mass Effect 2? No. Not unless they're role players. Does the multi-tool work in game yet? Sort of. Not properly, no. You can just beam things with it. Gonna have lots of features soon. Apologies if already asked, came in late. With alien life on planets, we'll be able to hunt them and barbecue them. Wondering if they're sentient. So, yeah. Alien life on planets, we'll have to kill them. I'm not sure what resources we'll have to gather from them, but I suspect they will be valuable in some way. We'll be able to collect them in some way, do something like that, because, you know, why not? I think the Terrapin can be operated from an Idris. What? Oh, you want it as an AWACS ship? I mean, you'd be able to tell someone from an Idris, while you're in an Idris, you'd be able to tell a Terrapin what to do, and it'll probably be able to send telemetry and radar data to you. Serious question this time. You said before that you're looking forward to the Reliant Mako. It's not really what I've said. I'm looking forward to the news type gameplay with the news van. I'm hoping there's other ships that do it as well. I'm not a massive fan of the Reliant series. What type of special features do you expect from this ship or camera controls? Just curious. I like the idea of being able to make money in-game by filming events and having that streamed in-game to other people's screens. And if they watch, you make UEC. Just sort of like that. There's lots of stuff they could do. They could have it streamed straight to Twitch or something. I don't know exactly what their plans are. They showed massive improvements to Mark Hamill's character this year. Do you think we'll see any more large graphics upgrades? Yeah, I mean, just before, so at the end of this year, they want to be feature and content complete. When they get to beta at sort of like the start of next year for Squadron 42 is the plan, they'll put a load of improvements to the graphic stuff that they need to do at the very end. It will look fucking fantastic. What are the trading routes and why will you see them in the verse? Trading routes will change. They'll be dynamic because that's the way that they want the mission subsumption system to work for generation missions, and the economy is going to be relatively dynamic. And it'll be based on risk and reward as well. Do you think Vandal will be more aggressive towards you if they noticed you're wearing a Vandal blade? I think that would be just as aggressive to you. I think they hate humans. Do you think full persistence in 2019 or 2020? They're trying for 2019. People on Spectrum keep saying I will not be able to explore in my endeavour like a Carrack. Whilst I'm sure there will be some differences between the two, is that a fact or their opinion? It's their opinion at the moment. I mean, it's not, the Endeavour is not the Carrack, so that is a fact. That's a different type of exploration, probably. But the Endeavour is just different. Set it up with the telescope, and you set it up for it's a different type of exploration. It's do science and exploration where you're discovering animals and plants, maybe. Probably be better to do in the Endeavour, and anomalies that you're scanning down with the telescope rather than the Crytek, which is going to be probably better at mapping and a long range travel. There's lots of stuff, and I don't know how it's going to work because they haven't told us yet. There's a little bit of theory crafting there. Would we be able to tame wild animals and maybe breed them? Oh, we don't know. We don't know what sort of level of alien animal stuff we're going to be able to do. We know there are going to be animals that are going to have their own schedules, so they're going to be drinking, hunting, and things. Some of them will be dangerous. How tricky do you think it will be for CIG to add ray tracing? They've basically said they'll add and use technologies that are sensible to them in the future, and I think Brian Chambers said at the moment that ray tracing just doesn't make sense for them. When are we going to get back to 12 months of Star Citizen roadmap? Hopefully in a couple of weeks' time. I'm annoyed as you are for that. Like, obviously a huge amount of my content can come from that roadmap. So what do you anticipate will happen with party mechanics in 3.5? Mission sharing seems obvious. I hope mission sharing is in. That's, I think, what we've all been waiting for a long time. But what else? It's a mechanic that is key to bringing in new players back as friends. I mean, that's the main one, isn't it? Just some better exposed data of what your teammates are doing. Stuff on the HUDs, you can see their criminal rating, see if they've what part of the mission they're on, if they've got mission items on them. There's lots of cool little HUD updates and stuff they could do. A more robust contract system, the ability to transfer money between players, trading, but we need physicalized inventories for that really first. What means random? So you like scrolling to pick a winner, or is it a program used to pick a winner of the Crytek? Oh, so my monthly giveaways, basically what happens is from every video, a list of names of people that commented in that video is generated. And so every video from that month generates a list of names. And then through random number generator, it's not entirely actually like this, but this is basically for you guys. Random number generator then picks one of those names because it all goes exported to an XML sheet. What actually happens is it first randomly picks a video and then randomly picks from one of the names in that video. Any black hole or portals going to be in game? There's definitely a black hole, and I suspect jump points could be portals. And I suspect we'll be able to find jump points as well, even temporary ones. So yeah. Will we get something other than push to talk VoIP? I almost certainly. Is there going to be class/dob depth outside of actual gameplay, like some RPG elements? I don't know what you mean by that. Sorry. What happens if I die in persistence? Do I just respawn and lose a few equipment pieces? If I die too much, 10 or something like that, can my character die forever? So what they've said last about Death of a Spaceman is there is a permadeath system. So if you die too many times, you can lose your character. However, it's a soft death system. So you're about to create a new character and they would inherit most or if not all of your stuff. You might lose some like reputation and there might be a small death tax. But you can die a few times and you'll start to see your character age. You'll start to see like battle damage on your character is the idea. There might be the potential that they change this later. They might have different types of medical insurance that you could get. So you can have like really expensive medical insurance and you don't lose one of your lives or whatever. So just bear that in mind. Nothing's set in stone with pretty much anything in Star Citizen, but especially a mechanic they haven't actually put in yet. But certainly don't worry about it yet. In the future, when cargo crates are bigger than people, how will interceptors be able to take these crates into their ships? We don't 100% know. They've talked about the potential of having like ways of moving them around with like little thruster things or people pushing them in EVA, forklifts. I'm not entirely sure exactly what they want to do with that in the end. How's it going, bud? How's your day going? It's going all right. Right? Let's stop in a bit and get some food. What mechanics or ship roles that have not been discussed would you like to see implemented or emergent gameplay that is not designed into the game? Boarding, proper ship boarding and capture. Boom. That's one of my things I want the most. Space station building, and probably the most important thing for me, manufacture. Even if it's just fuel and ammunition, that would be super important in areas that aren't UEE controlled. That pirates will have their bases, they'll have their outposts producing the materials they need, so they don't have to go back to a lawful zone, or they don't have to go back to a proper population center, and then you dislodge those pirates by destroying their base. And that's why you'd have like information gathering and mapping and stuff. This is the Squadron 42 vertical slice playing in the background. What do you think the next concept ship will be? I think the next concept sale will be mid-February. That's what it was last year, I believe. And probably the Drake Corsair, which would be like sort of like a Constellation Drake ship. But we could see the Titan suits go on sale. We could see loads of different things. Could be a load of different things. Do I think full persistence this year? They're aiming for full persistence this year. How do you extract the comment names for your YouTube videos to generate the Excel spreadsheet? It was a free little program on the, I googled it. Nubify sent it to me, I think, originally.
Tricksy little hobbitses.
How do you think max atmospheric speed will work in 3.5? Will we get damaged by exceeding max safe velocity? I think exceeding max safe velocity will have issues with your maneuverability and overheating. And might wear your components down more. I think that's the idea of that. Base whale incoming, boys. Estimate for the introduction of animals. I'm hoping we see some at CitizenCon properly. Ones that will be in the game soon. We could see like the Oni crabs, the cephalopods, the pods, whatever they're fucking called, and some more simple life forms earlier than that though. But I don't know. I'll have a look at some of these concept pictures in a second. With game companies losing confidence of gamers with pay to win and how will CIG overcome this with buying UEC and ship sales? I mean, they're not. Players aren't just losing confidence in bias for that. They're losing confidence in games because of cash grabs and constantly not listening to their fan base and making mobile games and just being super disconnected with their communities. And CIG aren't disconnected with their community. They're not selling loot boxes, and they're not trying to do this massive cash grab. Or at least that doesn't look like they're doing a cash grab to me. It looks like they're doing the opposite, because if they actually sold games, they were actually releasing games, they'd be making fuck tons more money. They could sell everything else as DLC and stuff in the future. They'd make a lot more money like that, in my opinion, anyway. I might be wrong, and you're more than welcome to disagree. So I think what CIG are doing are trying to create a new IP, and they're trying to make something a lot more unique and original. And that's something that no other game company has done for fucking ages. Since really like Half-Life 2. You could argue that Titanfall and Evolve were a bit more new IP, but these companies just, for me, they don't want to. Resident Evil 7 was pretty good, and RE2 is fucking awesome. So there are definitely exceptions. What I'm saying is that the companies just want to produce massive cash grab games and then just pump out money. It's going to go, well, every year we'll make a new Call of Duty or whatever. That's why gamers are losing confidence. They want new IPs. They want something new. They want something different. They want something that they don't have to keep on updating every year. They want something that they can play for a long period of time. WoW was amazing. WoW still is amazing. EVE, amazing. Half-Life 2, amazing. A lot of current games the last 5 years have just been pumping the same game with slight updates constantly back in our faces. They add manufacturing of ammo and guns, etc. Would every base doing it reduce the role of cargo runs to the more speedy parts of the verse? I don't know what that means. Sorry. It will definitely affect the economy of the game. What area or planet point of interest are you most excited to see in game in the future? Mine has to be Terra. Probably Earth. Terra definitely up there, but Earth. So Sol. Do you think player captured news reports will be available to watch on your mobile glass? I think that's certainly a possibility. They're probably exploring doing that with the Mako and the render detection stuff, but I don't know if it's viable or not. Maybe I missed it the other day. We'll be able to load up the Hully or other ship with a dozen size 2 to 3 ships and move them all at once to another system, or must they move one by one? I don't know, actually. Maybe there will be container sizes that will allow for small ships to be put in them. Will we be able to change out thrusters so that we could make really fast ships or make it more 6 degrees of freedom? You will be able to change out thrusters, yes. So they pretty much spent most of the 200 million. They got the $46 million investment to finish the game. How do you think they have enough funds to make other systems? Sheriff York. So they've been consistently bringing a lot of money, over 36 million a year, plus subscriber money. And they have been spending the money. They can scale back the spending of that money if they need to, which they probably won't. They're probably going to keep on employing people because they're making more and more money every year. If they get dangerously close to having a low amount of funds, then they will scale the game back, or they'll talk to the community about it. The $46 million investment takes money away from future money away from Chris Roberts, no one else, and enables them to have a much better advertising campaign for Squadron 42. At least that is what it's earmarked for. They could technically use it for something else, and people could argue all day that it's a bailout or something. It's clearly not. You can see their financials, but people will interpret it the way they will. I mean, they certainly have enough to continue going exactly like they are going now. They're making more money every year and expanding. They could just not expand so much if they're genuinely not making money. But one of the things is that you'll look at the funding tracker and go, well, the funding tracker is different. Well, the funding tracker doesn't take into account subscriptions and sponsorships from them and stuff like that. So a lot of stuff is paid for by Intel, I suspect, and their sponsors. Will we be able to tame and ride an alien? An alien, I'm assuming you mean. I don't think so. They haven't talked about that. Maybe they'll have. Chris did say he liked Red Dead Redemption. He's probably watching horses ride around. We have to have horses. Would Game Glass be free if it's ready? Would Game Glass be for free if it's ready, or do I have to pay to use it? There will be a free version of Game Glass with the features of Star Citizen that they currently have for it. So you'll have all the basic function of Star Citizen that you'd want for Game Glass. If you want lots of other things for Game Glass, then you can pay for the shards. Worth noting that a lot of money is used to create the tools to make the planets. Yeah, I mean, a lot of it's used to... All of the stuff they've done is to create the tools and the base of the game that are there. They are now starting to deliver on... I mean, it's still a fucking slow process, admittedly. Yeah. Did I miss news on animals? Well, we talked a little bit about animals, but we'll have a look at the pictures in a minute and stuff. It's not really news. It's more sort of like, ooh. If every pirate base can make their own ammo and guns, do you feel it will cut out the role of taking smaller, faster cargo ships to run supplies out to pirate unlawful space? No, I think it will be both important. I also think that it will be quite hard and very expensive to set up making your own manufacturing operation. There'll be an investment there, which is why it's important to sort of like attack those bases to dislodge them. That would be the way I'd do it anyway. My understanding, the Anvil Crucible started life as sort of a space tugboat. Yes, that is correct. That's what they wanted from it. They wanted it to be the tugboat. And then the ship evolved into repair-focused. Do you think we could see a variant added so it has the original tugboat focus? I think we could actually see a tugboat as its own thing. I have an Avenger Stalker, and people recommend me to melt the package and buy a starter pack and then upgrade it to the Avenger Titan. Shall I do it? As long as you're not losing anything. Yeah, I actually like the Titan more than the Stalker, just because I like the cargo space. Hi Dad, a few questions. When do I get modded? Why are you so handsome? With planets being so big and population centers like Terra having so many people, will there be cities on one planet? Will there be many cities on one planet? Yes, you'll see multiple landing zones on some planets. I'm so handsome just because of the way that God or my parents scissoring made me. And when do I get modded? I'm not sure. I'm not sure, Nicholas. Are you one of the people that I wanted modded? If I feel like I trust you and you start adding to the community regularly on the Discord, I will consider modding you. Who are the alien race Crytek? It was a funding goal. Did they rename them to Tavaran? No, Tavaran are a different race. So up to the north of space, you've got the Xi'an, and behind the Xi'an, with no real human contact, are the Crytek. The Crytek and the Xi'an had the Spirit Wars, a war that they sort of like talk about occasionally in lore. But we don't know too much about the Crytek at all. We have no idea what they look like. We don't know about the ships or anything. Getting past some depression, you and your dad been... How have you and your dad been feeling? Best wishes. I'm okay. Been a bit rough over the weekend. I think I had like flu or something. I had migraines and stuff. I was feeling fucking rough. All my fucking chest hurts still. And like everything fucking aches at the moment. So thinking like virus or flu or something. It can't have been flu actually. I'd have been feeling a lot worse. But I'm okay. I'm okay now. My dad, pretty upbeat and positive compared to what he was previously. We'll find out more over the next couple of weeks and get an actual date for his operation. The nurses made him feel a lot better. The surgeon made him feel like it was terrible, but the nurses made him feel a lot better and walked him through the procedure much better. Do you think unique music will be made for each major location, or will they reuse music that fits the tone? Both. Like, I think they will at least consider making music for each major location. Had some rumors about mods for Star Citizen. This means just for Squadron 42, right? I don't 100% know, but they want to have Star Citizen moddable in the future and private servers. That's what they said a while ago. Hopefully that's still the thing. Hi, Dad. Many questions. Oh, I've already answered your questions, Raz. This is from a different person. This is from Raz. Hi, Dad. Many questions. When do I get modded? How did you get so handsome? Will population what? Will population cities? Yes, you hurt my brain. I'm gonna answer it again because you give me lots of money. I will mod you in a bit, Raz. I got so handsome because I don't know. I look like a fucking potato and an egg made love. Come on. Will population centers like Terra have multiple cities scattered across the landmass? I believe so. Would I be able to buy a violin, and if a mate dies, can I use it to make a sad situation? I fucking hate you. It's right. Let us look at some interesting things. Let's bring this up on screen. Boom, desktop. So in the Red Bull video they did on Star Citizen, where they talk a little bit about the project, they basically show the story of Star Citizen. They got some behind-the-scenes footage of CitizenCon from last year, and one of the things they showed was some of the concept work in some slides, which I captured. And I'm like, ooh. We see some animals they've been working on. We see the Zephypods there, which we know are in the Lear system and on Hurston, as we saw them flying around Hurston. But there's this fucking pterodactyl thing, which could be the Tokyai, the Santokyai, the apex predator from Xi'an, that they sort of like evolved it. Got a graboid rhino dog. We've got a big lizard that's standing up now like a fucking anteater. Oh, there's more anteater like this one. Fast attack on the cephalopods. What else we got? Weird alien parrot beaks going on here. Then we've got crocodiles and weird lizard things. Look a bit like they're from Evolve. A gorilla thing with almost beak and tusks. And then snaky, tusky crocodiles. Oh no. And this thing that says bear trap attack. I don't fucking know what's going on here. Wimble Stars doesn't have gameplay loops. Or game loops. Has some now. Has 2. Mine. And you can do Jump Town. There's missions and stuff as well. Yeah, so this year I'm expecting to see salvage, repair, refueling, and then pretty much all the, probably some medical stuff, and then all of the core stuff from Squadron 42 transfer over. Most of it. I suspect, Ted, that if you sing well enough in-game, people will hire you in-game to perform for them. I will. We got some more sort of like pig-type animals. Asexual pig. Livestock grazing. You got eggs here that hang down. That's weird. They're very, very evolved like the animals here, I feel. Yeah. I was in the Red Bull thing. Well, no, actually, we've got a couple more. We can show these as well. This is the Xiphopods that are in. They're on Hurston. They sort of like float around. This is sort of like some of the first animals we will see in game, in my opinion, because they don't have to worry about pathfinding so much for them because they can float. They're not going to get clipping through rocks so much and things like that. So they can move around more freely because they hover. And then we've got the Santokiai, I talked about earlier, that I think, or the Matokiai, I think probably evolved from the pterodactyl thing. So the sandworms on Layer 3, and I think that will be a thing in game. Not sure if it will be a raid. I'm not sure. They want the ability to be able to kill things like that, they said. Will the flight model rework include giving land vehicles more dynamic speed control than go and stop? I know that they're also doing the grav lev at the same time. So the bikes, they're making them more like speedboats. So there's like friction on the sides of them as they drive around, and you can adjust their heights. But I'm not sure about other ground vehicles. When would we get the, I don't know how to say, mega server where we don't have servers with a cap of 50 players? So they are working on getting the player cap up for the servers. Once they have the player cap up, and they're this year setting the groundwork for server meshing. Server meshing is what you're talking about, and server meshing uses object container streaming, other tech to basically dynamically spin up and down servers based on the population of rooms, and it basically puts everything into the size of nested rooms. So you have a single literal someone's house as a room, and then you have the city that it's in as a room, and then you have the planet that it's on as a room, or the continent that's on the planet, and then the part of the system, then the whole system, and then that's separate from another system. And you have all these nested containers, and each of those things can be run by a server. So all the way down into a small room, and then each individual room in that city could technically be run by its own server. That's the idea of server meshing. I have to wait and see exactly how that works. Do you think the sandworm will fit into the caterpillar? I think a small one will. Or one that's about the same size as a caterpillar. Slightly smaller. When do you think NPCs will fly about in their own ships? Well, they do now. Do you mean when will we start to see non-combat NPCs flying around and do cargo stuff? I think we'll see more of that in 3.5, but we're not going to see real ones for a while. And they need to work out a load of the dynamic economy and subsumption stuff, actually simulate the NPCs so they spawn in and spawn out properly. You see it faked. Right. Something else I wanted to talk about. I will... We can start at a certain... Oh, yes. So, bam. RTV, Reverse the Verse, is live on Friday, 4 p.m. UTC. It's going to have Todd Pappy there, who is an important person who will answer lots of your questions about 3.5 and work they've been doing on Star Citizen. It's going to be quite a lot of questions being chucked at them this time. So go to that thread, upvote questions that you like, and add questions that you like to be asked. Have a look through to see if there's anything interesting. How big is Area 18? Does it have public transport like Lawville? I'd like to know more details about the group system improvements V4. And when is the plan to increase the player count in the persistent universe? 50 players is too little. What can we expect in regards to co-op mission support? Things like that. So this is all pretty important questions. Game Glass is going well. Game Glass is physicalized MFDs. I've done a video on it. They're cool. They turn your touchscreen devices into your control panels for Star Citizen. They are going to have a free service for Star Citizen. Oh, being featured in both videos by BoredGamer and Noobifier. Boom. They wanted $5,000, and I think they're over $61,000. Almost $62,000 they made so far. 1,200% overfunded. Good job. Good on them. But there is a free version of it that's going to be coming out, so take a look. If you want to spread the word, great. If not, then also great. There's going to be a free version. Boom. Let's go to last round of questions, and then let's break for din-dins. Did lots of formation fly over the weekend. Is there anything that can be done about rubber banding and desync? I don't have that much rubber banding and desync when flying. Do on the ground when running around and in vehicles. They need to, the latest couple of mini patches they did really fucked up some things in game, unfortunately. So hopefully they'll resolve that soon. New flight model, do you think we'll be able to preform proper crash landings when in atmosphere or moons, or when we run out of fuel or our ships are damaged? Ships are going to have drag and lift and stuff in atmosphere, so I'm assuming you'll be able to glide even if you turn off all your engines. So probably, or maybe at least. Hoping so. So sorry for not knowing the lingo, but what does it mean when you say you're going to host someone at the end of the show? That means I'm going to have a look on Twitch, see who else is talking about Star Citizen or playing Star Citizen that I like, and then say, you guys can go here and watch this person. Basically what I mean. Sorry for not, and that's what you just read. What's the name of for the free version? It'll be called Game Glass still. It'll still be called Game Glass. Basically, with Game Glass, it's going to be supporting other games, and it's going to be supporting lots of other additional functionality. But you're going to get the basic functionality with just the free version. So you'll have your flight systems, shields and control, your social stuff, and then beyond that, need a subscription or to get the shards separately. So that would probably be stuff like mining or some expanded extra combat things or whatever. But this basic one should be more than enough for most people's needs. With the draw of the Taurus, could it make it fat like the Freelancer Max? Because current model won't hold double cargo. Well, I mean, getting rid of the buggy and stuff, aren't they? So they're getting rid of the bottom turrets and that sort of stuff. Yeah, they might increase the hull a bit, maybe. What would be the tipping point that would make you too frustrated to want to play Star Citizen, Dev Mistakes, etc.? I don't know. I'd still cover the game probably, even if I was frustrated with it. Get frustrated all the time with lots of things. Needing to go to the toilet too much frustrates me. When there is cucumber on some of my food that I've ordered from a takeaway that's never done cucumber before, and I hate cucumber because it's the devil's vegetable. That frustrates me. Oh, man, that can ruin a week for me. Oh, I'm not even fucking joking. I mean, I'll just keep on. Well, because I have an outlet for my frustration, I can just talk about stuff. I can analyse the news. I feel like I can hold CIG more accountable for things that I don't like quite easily because I can just talk about it. And I can judge in my comments how other people are feeling about it. And I can read from other sources like Reddit and other people's videos to see how they're feeling about it as well. So, you know, I don't know. They start, you know, fucking around, not listening to the community a lot, and I'd probably get pretty angry. They look like they're doing cash grabby stuff, probably get pretty angry. You know, hopefully I don't have to work out what it is. Hopefully they just don't do it. Any news on fuel mechanics? They are getting them in for second quarter in the Squadron 42 roadmap, second or third quarter, I think. So I suspect that will go to the persistent universe soon after that. So 3.6, 3.7. yep, we do need gameplay loops badly. We also need all of the core features of the game, the core mechanics that Squadron 42 are bringing in. So we need all that working. Okay, but more importantly, pickles or no. I'm okay with pickle, as long as it doesn't have cucumber in or gherkin. Fuck that. Like, basically a small cucumber, aren't they? They're not as bad, but they're small. 3.5 will have the ability for you to make female characters and customize your male characters further. Do you think that by the end of this year there might be 180 players per server? There might be. I don't know. I mean, we'll certainly see at least 100. I'd hope to see a couple of hundred or 250. That'd be good. I'm not sure what the extent they can do that with server-side object container streaming, because they still haven't got that in game yet. So they should be getting that in as soon as possible. And then they want some of their multi-threading tech and stuff for more connections to their servers and the ability to spin bits of servers down or save areas in the servers. Full persistence is going to be major to this as well, I suppose. So once they have full persistence in, maybe they can increase servers more as well. Do you think they will develop Lorville and Hurston towards the level CIG showed in the video originally? More buildings scattered about the planet, factories at the shores. Oh, I mean, that version of Lorville was a lot less developed, actually. But yes, I do think we'll see some more unique locations around the planet. Will flight suits matter in the future? Yes. I mean, they sort of matter now. Them to, have a sealed helmet on. Thank you very much. I appreciate all the love. Iron Man suit? Yeah, they're they're Titan suits. We could see them go on sale at any point, I suppose. But we should see them in the game by the end of the year. Any other questions before I go and host some else? I am going to take some painkillers, get some food, lie the fuck down, and then play some games later. See what else is streaming. Right, we'll give Bad News Baron a host. I love you guys. Thank you very much. If you want to further support the stream, you can by a variety of different medias. Subscribing on the YouTubes via the join button, or on the Twitches via the subscribe button, or on Subscribestar, or direct donation, or Patreon, or just giving feedback. That really fucking helps as well. If you want me to look at a particular organization, if you want me to look at a particular bit of hardware, if you want to ask any questions, hit me up on my Discord, discord.gg/BoredGamer. I am the most accessible YouTuber fucking ever, so please ask me any questions you want. I will check your message out at some point and try and get back to you if it's something that you need me to say hello to. Stargate SG-1 or Atlantis? Or SG-1, although I do love Rodney from Atlantis. Iron Man suit that flies? Unlikely. Almost certainly not. What time do I normally stream? I don't really have a proper schedule yet. I'm planning to stream on Tuesdays and on the weekend for Starsters and stuff at the moment. That will change and probably expand in the future. Server meshing comes in. Will there be separate regions to avoid ping issues? Potentially. If there are ping issues with their servers and stuff, then they'll have to segregate them into US, Euro, and stuff like that. But you should still have the choice of who you play with. But hopefully that won't be the case. Don't drop your camera. Will do. Yes, so I'll be testing this bad boy out later. I've also got a file server that I need to set up, which is going to have several terabytes of data on it, but also be running, I could run my stream thread or something, with this nondescript graphics card. And it's nondescript because it doesn't have any form of description. It was just graphics card on eBay, but it was super cheap, and I looked at it and went, well, it just needs to turn on. I just need it for to turn on the computer, nothing else. It was super cheap. It was like, what, £18 or something? I think it's probably like a 750 or something. Who knows? Right. Love you guys. You take care. Give Andy's Brown some love for me. Peace out. Boom. Boom, boom.